Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from Denver, Colorado. Josh Lander, joined as always by my guy, Nate Weitzer, still on the East Coast, holding it down for us. Another great article up on playpicks.com from Nate. Some best bets on tonight's small NBA slate, as well as some player props in there for you. We have all three games in one video each, so make sure you check out the other two. For this one specifically, we're going to be looking at Blazers headed to LA to take on the Clippers. Already played twice this season, third matchup between these teams, so we'll be looking at how those teams have fared in their first two and what to expect tonight. But as always, if you still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight on Tuesday. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, 3-game slate, and make sure you check out the other videos, especially the Jazz, who are minus 8.5 at home against the Hawks, because that is where we have our first gift card of the season. Something to do with Donovan Mitchell. You'll have to like and subscribe and check that one out to be eligible for some free money there. The Bucks are minus 5.5 at the Sixers. A lot of stars out for both of those teams, so the total is dropping down to 217 there. And the game we're talking about here, Blazers plus 2.5 at Clippers, total of 221. As you mentioned, they've played twice this season. Each time the road team came out absolutely flat. Scored about under 90 points, I believe, both times, which is the only reason they went under. Prior to that, these teams had been going over at a very high rate. Of course, with Kawhi Leonard out there, you're a lot more likely to go over these days. My starting point is not the total, though, because the Clippers have been very erratic in terms of their point totals, in terms of their pace, but they've certainly figured some things out lately. I think we need a larger sample before we know the trends about how they're going to play in terms of their pace and their points. But they've won 4 straight. They have the number 3 defensive rating at home at this point. In that 4-game span, only the Warriors have a better net rating. They're playing at the 6th fastest pace. So they've been able to score for sure. And not coincidentally, Reggie Jackson is up to 37 minutes per game in that span. Eric Bledsoe is taking a seat next to Coach, and once again getting outplayed by somebody on his own team. So Reggie is an intriguing player prop to look at tonight against a Blazers team that has the worst defensive rating on the road this year, 115. They're 0-4 on the road. They've lost 6 straight on the road going back to last season. Reggie Jackson going head-to-head with Damian Lillard. I think he can get over 18.5 points there. There's an interesting market on DraftKings for him and Dame to go over 25 points. Gets you some nice plus money there. And I like even more is Reggie to get 4.5 assists, considering the Blazers are giving up the most assists per game this year. And Reggie's running this team. Paul George is being asked to come off pin downs and fire, and Reggie will feed him. So anything Paul makes, that goes to Reggie, right?
Yep, and I like Paul to get his points tonight. I think the trend of the away team getting smashed in this particular series will continue tonight. The Blazers have won 2 in a row. They've got a little bit of momentum going, considering Dame finally had a nice game against the Lakers, putting up 25 points. And the Blazers look pretty good on defense against the Lakers too, but this is not in Portland, as we mentioned. This is in LA, and the last time they played here, they gave up 116 points, only scoring 86. It's going to be a matter of, once again, what do the Clippers do well? We know it's been since last season. They make a ton of threes. They're currently I believe 4th in the league in 3-pointers made per game. The Blazers happen to be 2nd in 3-pointers made per game, which is another not a surprise in terms of that's what their offense is as well with those 2 guards. But tonight, specifically to your point of Reggie sort of being the distributor now, finally getting Eric Bledsoe back next to Ty Lue where he kind of belongs, which is what we've been saying. I'm glad, Nate, you hit Eric Bledsoe's props a couple times this season to get at least a few units out of him before he's back on the bench where he belongs, and we get Reggie Jackson back in this game playing up to the level that he did play in the playoffs last year, right? So for Paul George and the fact that threes are going to be, whether they're easy to come by, they're going to be pulled a lot tonight by both of these teams. Paul George, especially, he's averaging 9 3-point attempts in those last 4 where where he's really, really hot, averaging about 27, 9 boards and 7 assists as well. So I kind of like Paul George tonight to hit a bunch of threes coming off of those screens up to the wing or down into the corner on a back screen as they've been wont to do with him, and get that ball from Reggie, who's feeding him really well. 4 3-pointers made for Paul George tonight, which would mean he doesn't even have to hit half of how many he's shooting at 9 a game right now. That would be plus 320 on your money with a Clippers win in there. I think we both like the Clippers in this one, as if we don't expect the Blazers to be able to come out and stop anything, as you mentioned, their worst defensive rating on the road. So that for me specifically, I'm gonna start with a Paul George 3-pointer prop there, just because a lot of the stats sort of point towards that being his advantage.
Yeah, and I would look at Dame Lillard props on the other side. I know that the numbers are way down for him. His 103 individual offensive rating, worst of his career, and it's way down from 125 last year. He's shooting under 25% from 3, but he is too good to continue struggling, and even to continue struggling against the Clippers, who have had his number in 4 straight. I just think there's some positive regression coming here. Dame does have 30-plus points in 6 of the last 7 when the Blazers are road dogs. So for him to get over 25.5 points, I like that as just an entertaining bet to take. If you're going to watch this game on a short slate, you're definitely going to want to see some fireworks from Dame, and I think he can always provide them.
Yeah, for sure. And on the other side, we mentioned Reggie Jackson. Those 25 points, I think that's super interesting. A little bit scary for me on that DraftKings bet. But if you do like his points and assists combined, you can get that a little bit closer to even money, where that you got that at 23 total. And I would feel pretty good about that, because I do think he'll put up some numbers tonight in terms of scoring. The assists, I would feel good about. A 5 is a little bit scary to me, but if you combine 18.5 with 14 with points for him with 4.5 assists, and he does get that 23 number there, you get minus 105 on your money. Still really good on FanDuel, so I would consider that one for RJax, as his usage rate continues to go up, as we mentioned, and he's got the ball in his hands a lot more. And to your point, this is going to be a team without Kawhi Leonard for the rest of the season. I think we can expect that pace to be at a pretty decent rate for Portland, or for the Clippers, who should be about in the middle of the pack. Blazers still pretty high up there as well. So I'm looking for points tonight and a lack of defense, but I am scared if Portland, this road team comes out and puts out another stinker that does affect your total. Might consider, taking the Clippers total tonight against a really, really bad Portland defense. So that is all the time we have for today. Y'all make sure to like and subscribe to the page. We've got a gift card opportunity in our other video up today for those Jazz and Hawks in that game. And until we see you next, happy betting.